podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine. Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. Finn James and no Will Tremaine. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make the episode today, but fear not, I'm still going to do one today, and I have a special guest later on in the episode to wrap the round 11 with the Breakers. That is Henry Lee. He did the Sideline Yards podcast. He also used to do the Breakers breakdown on the Basketball Fix. So if you want to skip to that, time code's down below. We really dove deep into round 11 and also the Breakers season with the FIBA break and what's been going on. It was a really good chat and I think you'd really enjoy it. So make sure you go down into the description and hit on the time code. You'll be able to find it there. But we're still going to be running through all the basics of the show. Of course, we'll head a look at the NBL Round 11. Of course, we'll dive into the Breakers like I just said before. And then we'll end off with a little bit of NBA because I think the last 2 weeks, because obviously we didn't have an episode last week, have been quite insane. Even in the last 5 or 6 days, I feel like so much has unwrapped, and despite Will not being here, I think we still need to shine some light on what's been going on in the NBA. But of course, without further ado, we'll jump into NBL Round 11, arguably one of the most exciting rounds. I think I say this almost every round going into the NBL, but this was the first round after the FIBA international break. A lot of teams had a chance to regroup, rearm, and I guess give it another crack after about a 2-week hiatus. So there was a lot going on. There was plenty of games. And the first one was the Breakers on Wednesday night, which I got into with Henry, so we will skip over that. However, spoiler alert, we did get a 95-90 win over Sydney. I'm sure you would already have known that. But Thursday night, arguably the game of the round, Illawarra Hawks versus the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, a 113-109 win for the Illawarra Hawks on the back of QJ Peterson with a career high, obviously only just joined the NBL, but 42 points off the bench for QJ Peterson. An outstanding display of scoring. I couldn't even believe what was going on. Was hitting everything from all parts of the court. Whether it was from three, the midi, the rim, he was getting going. JaVale McGee also finished with 29 points and 13 rebounds. But QJ Peterson with 42 was just an absolute sight to see. And he hit the dagger. A deep wing, right wing that is, three-pointer. And it went up. Damon Lowry was on the call. And QJ Peterson shot the ball. And you could hear Damon Lowry on the commentary go, "What?" And he made it. It was insane. So Illawarra Hawks did get the win there. Just a great showing from Southeast Melbourne. Obviously, 109 points. Still very, very good for Southeast Melbourne. An unfortunate loss. If QJ Peterson doesn't drop 42 points, I mean, they probably go win this game on any given night. But a really good showing from Southeast Melbourne. Josh King has been doing an excellent job with them this season, in my opinion. Everyone in this, there was 5 players with 15 or more, which is very good to see from a team. And shout out Wes Awandu, who had 22 points in the night, who in my opinion has been a little bit slow this season. So he's still got a lot of time to start putting it together. Obviously a former NBA player, but 22 points on the night for Wes Awandu. Also Thursday night, we saw the Perth Wildcats take on Melbourne United. The Wildcats did get the 96-84 win. No real standouts from Perth. Just a really well-rounded win from the team in Perth. This is something they've done all season long, in my opinion. They're obviously currently sitting in I think it's either 4th or 3rd it'd be 4th, on the NBL ladder. And in my opinion, they don't really have one super standout guy. Obviously, Bryce Cotton was that guy for Perth for 8 seasons. But now that we've seen this year with Christian Doolittle mostly taking a fair chunk of the scoring load, but I feel like with the acquisitions of JLA and also Dylan Windler coming back and David Duke Jr. as well, who's really still, I feel like, trying to find his feet. Not really on many given nights are you seeing one dude that's kind of going crazy for Perth this year, in my opinion. I feel like everyone has just been firing on all cylinders, and that was very evident in this game over Melbourne United, where they won by 84. However, although Melbourne United did lose 96-84, this was the Tanner Krebs show. I've been high on Tanner Krebs to start the year. He was absolutely popping off to start the season with the absence of Chris Golding for Melbourne, but Tanner Krebs with 29 points on the night, 12 of 14 from the field. He looked excellent, and it's weird. Dean Vickerman chucked him into the starting lineup for the game later in the round, which we'll see. And let's just say that might have backfired. We'll go to Friday night. Not the most entertaining game. Adelaide 36 has got a 90-65 win over the Brisbane Bullets now. I mean, this was expected, right? Brisbane have just been down and out, obviously, ever since Casey Prather went down. And obviously Jalen Adams' departure as well, even though I personally didn't think he was doing that well this season. But honestly, no real standouts. Bryce Cotton and Cheatham both finished with 20, but just struggle street for Brisbane. Tyrell Harrison shot poorly from the field. Had a double-double, but that's sort of expected for a 7-foot big man. Dakota Matthias struggled. The new import, Terry Taylor, he was 1 for 8 from the field. I think this was his debut. Obviously, Javon Freeman-Liberty should be rejoining the team at some point this season. Unsure when that actually is, but he wasn't here on Friday night. So whether he's still far away or he's just around the corner, I actually don't have an update for you, so I do apologize. Saturday night, we had the Breakers, of course, with their game over the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers in Spark Arena. Skip to Henry's chat with myself if you want to listen to our breakdown of that. But on Saturday night as well, there was another game which, honestly, an incredibly unexpected result, in my opinion, in the Snake Pit. No, yeah, it is called the Sandpit Snake Pit in Illawarra. 76-93, the Hawks went down to the Cairns Taipans, and this was without Jack McVeigh, who was actually with his wife for the birth of his child. So Jack McVeigh did miss the game, and they still got a huge win over the reigning champs. How can the Hawks go from a massive win over a top 3 team like Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, scoring 113 points, QJ Peterson with 42, JaVale McGee with 29 and 13, to losing to Cairns Taipans, the bottom of the table, without their $1 million player? Bit of a head scratcher to me. Andrew Andrews was excellent in this game. 27 points in the night, 50% from the field. He's improved night in and night out for me in NBL 26. Will and I were very cold on him going into the season, but I feel like he has been one of the X factors for Cairns this year, absolutely. So they got a huge win over the Illawarra Hawks. Shout out to Dan Greeder, Hawke's Bay Hawks legend. He had a career high of 18 points, 6 of 7 from the field. Honestly, that was the only bright spot for the Hawks in this game. They continue to struggle, and they're also playing catch-up as well because they were at the FIBA Intercontinental Championships at the start of the season. So they're a few games behind, and they're dropping games they should be winning. This might be a hot take. The Illawarra Hawks could miss the 6 this season, especially with how a lot of these other teams are rolling. We're not going to see Brisbane in the 6. We're not going to see Cairns in the 6. I think the Breakers are going to make a push. I think the Hawks could miss out. It's just a take. Unsure. Let me know what you think in the comments. Sunday night, even more amazing games of basketball. We'll have a look. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix hand Melbourne United their second loss in a row for the round, 111-86, almost a 30-point win in the rivalry for Southeast Melbourne over United. They played earlier on in the year, and Melbourne United did get the upper hand on that win streak they had to start the season where they went 9-0. This was an unexpected win from Southeast Melbourne for me. I really thought Melbourne United would have bounced back after that loss to start the round, of course, but Southeast Melbourne Phoenix were really just firing. Nathan Sobey with 25 points, and a bunch of other players as well for Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, of course. To score 111 points, you got to do a pretty good job. In my opinion, Josh King is really pushing himself as a Coach of the Year candidate. I know he's already there and thereabouts, but I'm just trying to think who could actually tip him. Obviously, Dean Vickerman is probably in there as well. Mike Wells over at Adelaide, who have now actually, with this loss from Melbourne United, they've gone to second. Something I didn't see happening. I really thought Melbourne United were going to solidify themselves as the number 1 seed for the rest of the year. But that's 2 wins in round 11 for the Melbourne United. Adelaide go to number 1, and I'll tell you why. Bryce Cotton's return to Perth. It was cinema. I'm sure there've been a lot of popcorn eaten by the guys in the stands. Wildcats 94-95. 36ers get the win. Incredibly unexpected, considering Perth were in, I'd say, fully in control until the 4th quarter. Adelaide ended the 4th quarter on a 19-2 run, scoring plus 30 points in the 4th. And they stole the win. Isaac Humphries gets a huge block on David Duke Jr. Flynn Cameron goes down the court, tries to find Bryce Cotton, but of course, Of course all the attention's going to be on Bryce Cotton. So what does Flynn Cameron do? He goes down the lane and gets an easy lay. Perth go back, can't score. That's the win for Adelaide. They steal it in Perth on Bryce's return. We've waited until the start of December for Bryce to return to Perth. And honestly, I think it was worth the wait. An excellent performance. Obviously, some other standouts from Perth. This was a very close game, obviously 1 point in it. But if we take a look over the box score, Isaac Humphries finished with 28 points on 13 of 15 from the field, once again solidifying himself as a premier big man in this league. I think Montrezl Harrell being done for that drug charge in China might have been a silver lining for Adelaide they didn't know they needed. Obviously, with Bryce being changed to a naturalized athlete, let them pick up Rakocevic. They're essentially running with 4 imports this year, obviously with the acquisition of Troy Brown Jr. before the FIBA break. I had Adelaide finishing, I'm pretty sure it was either 1 or 2. Going into our season predictions, obviously I had Illawarra being up there as well, but obviously things aren't exactly working out over there. But this was a huge win for Adelaide, catapults them into the first place on the leaderboard. Bryce Cotton also finished with 21 points and 12 assists, and Zylan Cheatham, who just continues to get better every single game, who had a pretty slow start to the season, finished with 20 points. Pretty all-round performance from Perth. I alluded to that earlier as well. 19 points for JLA and 17 for Christian Doolittle. It's an absolute pleasure now to bring in a good friend of mine. You might know him from the Sideline Yarns podcast. He also used to be on the Breakers Breakdown on the Basketball Fix, but it's a good friend of mine, Henry Lee, arguably one of the biggest Breakers fans I know, maybe outside of myself. Henry, welcome in. How you been, my friend?
Thanks, Finn, for having me. Yeah, very good, actually. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm a bigger basketball, well, not bigger basketball fan, but bigger Breakers fan than you. But yeah, no, definitely very, very passionate about the Breakers. But it's been a tough road this year, but we're starting on the up, I think, now. But yeah, it's been a tough year.
Yeah, definitely starting on the up. We've actually gone to 7-10 on the season now, gone into 6th place after the 2 wins, which we'll get into very, very shortly. But definitely some positive signs on the other side of this FIBA international break, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing for me is just like we actually seem to slightly be clicking now. I think that was the issue at the start of the season with all the imports. Obviously, the NBL is a very import-heavy league when you get to this point, like all of the quality players are mostly imports. So when you can't get the quality locals that we probably would have liked, it all heavily relies on the imports. And then at the start of the season, I don't think we were that consistent and it wasn't all clicking with the imports. So it's good to see them kind of, I guess, rip in and sort of start to click on the offensive side of the ball and kind of put more effort on the defensive end and the defensive areas.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Obviously, we knew what Parker Jackson Cartwright was going to be like coming into this season. He's been excellent. You know, Rob Baker, we've had our fair few things to say about him, haven't we, Henry? But it seems like he's really found himself in the last 3 or 4 games, especially in this round just gone. And Isaiah Brockington, I feel like, is really finding himself as that Robin to PJC's Batman, as I like to call it. So very good signs. But why don't we get into what happened in round 11? We'll go back to Wednesday night, our last game of the Ignite Cup round. We had Sydney down in Hamilton. First of all, Hamilton looked excellent, didn't it?
Yeah, actually, I did make a comment to some of my friends about that actually our second home, well, apart from Event Finder, Spark Arena, whatever you want to call it, I think it actually should be Hamilton. Like, I really thought the crowd brought it home in the end there because we've had a couple of games in Christchurch. You know, I've been very high on the fact that we should just stop taking games away from Auckland. I understand that it's a national team that's the only professional basketball team in the country, so you do need to get the fans from not just Auckland, but I think just when we play at Spark Arena, when we play at Event Finder Stadium, it just seems right. We feel at home. But to me, Hamilton was a really good surprise. I thought we were really, really good. Thought the crowd was loud, and especially in the final stages where we know that we've struggled in, I was pretty happy to see them actually storm home in an away game. Wow, a home game that's an away game technically.
Yeah, it is a bit of a funky one. And, you know, part of me does agree with you. I mean, going down to Christchurch is essentially an away game for us almost. Although, you know, home fans or whatever going down there. But, I mean, it's like an hour flight down to Christchurch from Auckland where their HQ is. But, I mean, Hamilton's just a bus ride away. Not too bad. And even some locals from Auckland probably got down for it as well, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just, it's about creating the momentum. And when we're on the winning momentum that we are, I mean, I was really nervous because I saw it was in Hamilton. I was like, Hamilton? I was like, what? But then actually the crowd showed up. It was loud, and it seemed louder than Christchurch and other arenas. I think maybe we could probably take one to Invercargill, Southland Sharks home ground. There's always a bit of a kind of a, I guess there's a good atmosphere down there and at TSB Stadium in Wellington as well. I'm just not a fan of Christchurch. Maybe it's the Christchurch people.
Yeah, I mean, I am from there, and you're not the biggest fan of me, so it does make sense, Henry. But if we do look at the game on Wednesday night, it was over Sydney, 95-90. First game back following the FIBA break. Obviously, we had a fair few Breakers players playing for the Tall Blacks over that little international window, but seemed like Judd was pretty keen on giving some fresh legs. Obviously, Sam only played 16 minutes in that last game against the Boomers, but he came out firing in this one. But there was a lot of positives to take away. And I think the biggest one would have been that fourth quarter. 0 turnovers, limited a lot of offensive rebounds against Sydney, and obviously Parker Jackson-Cartwright really came home at the end with that absolute dagger 3 to send Sydney packing. I think it was probably one of the best fourth quarters we've put together, which we've struggled with so much throughout this season, so a definite change and positive.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like, the fourth quarter's such a weird one because it seems, I heard Pete Hooley say on commentary actually, I think the Breakers will actually be happy that they're not winning in the fourth quarter to start because we've just been so average in fourth quarters that you kind of want us to be chasing the game. Not chasing the game, but you want us to be close and in with a shot because that fourth quarter was exceptional. Obviously, like you said, 0 turnovers, but I just like the impact that we got and we just looked like we wanted to win. Sydney are obviously a good side, stacked side with lots of star talent, but I know without Matthew Dellavedova as well. But yeah, I was just really impressed with how we closed that game out. And the sort of the adjustments that we made in that fourth quarter when Sydney Kings were fighting back. And I think that's what I'm most pleased about is that we actually just got the job done. Like, I'm sick of going, PJC played well or Bairstow played well, whatever it is. I just kind of we needed the win and we got that. So happy with that performance, especially the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I started sounding like a broken record on this podcast and a little bit of Sport Nation as well. Every time we'd get a close loss, especially how many times we'd be leading by almost double digits going into the fourth quarter, and we'd somehow find a way to lose it. And I'd always kind of say, Parker's looking like a top 5 player. Sam Meninga's having an MIP season. But yeah, just happy that we actually finally got across the line. And it was the complete opposite. I mean, 27-16 in the fourth, really. I mean, we were down 6 going into the fourth. With that PJC little one-legged runner he hit on the buzzer going into the fourth quarter, which I thought was insane. So yeah, like
he's making a good deal. He's making a good deal of that. He's done that a couple of times now. So he's done really well with that, which is crazy. And also, I think PJC 6 from 8 from 3. That's also an uptick in his kind of ratio. So yeah, pleasing signs.
Yeah, I mean, he started the season off pretty poor from the 3-point line. I mean, essentially the entire team did, bar Kareem Lopez and maybe Rob Baker on occasion, but good to see that he's trusting himself. And, I always go back to talking about that rib injury he obviously struggled with at the start of the year, but he's really looking like he's found his own recently in a scoring capacity. I feel like he was really making a case for that leading assist in the league, which he is doing currently, but his scoring output wasn't as high. I feel like he's really found himself. That PJC of old we saw in his first season where he averaged 21 points a game. I feel like we're really getting that again from Parker. It's just been excellent to watch.
Yeah, he's been excellent to watch, like you just said. But the thing also is that the thing I noticed from the other game is that his transition offense and decision making on offense, we'll get to the game recently, but I just think he understands what his role is in the team now, and if he can start getting these other 2 imports firing on all cylinders, his job is a lot easier and his role is a lot more solidified. So I think early on in the season when the other 2 imports weren't firing, I think a lot of, plus his rib injury, like you said, there was a lot of things on his mind, a lot of things on his plate. He was trying to carry the team's offense. He was trying to work hard on defense. He was trying to hit guys in the corner and whatever. But now I feel like he's starting to get more momentum with other players stepping up in big time moments as well. So I think it's kind of a lot of things that are all going right for PJC at this current time. And yeah, he's shooting the ball very, very well. And plus we're playing better basketball.
Yeah, you make an excellent point. I think Parker Jackson-Cartwright is arguably one of the best transition players in the NBL. He is so fast downhill. And I think, like you said, he was looking to dish, looking to kick out. And then when our imports and other players weren't hitting, I feel like, yeah, like you said, maybe he had too much on his mind. And yeah, it's great to see that the other boys are now firing, so it's making his job easier, making his he's getting way more space at the rim than he was at the start of the year, which probably is, a big part of his game. So yeah, really good to see. But yeah, we will get into the game as well. Other players that I thought were excellent. Kareem Lopez, obviously been struggling with that back injury majority of this season on minutes restrictions, but it seems like that is cleared now. I think he struggled with a bit of an ankle niggle, I think they said, going into Wednesday night, but he had a season high 18 points, 8 of 12 from the field. I just think this guy's draft stock is going to go through the roof.
Yeah, and if he keeps shooting the three ball like he is, and he just looks good too. It looks good out of the hand. He looks confident when he's taking it. It's not just like catch and shoot threes in the corner either. He's coming off handoffs. He's getting open shots, but it's deep threes as well that he's getting. I like the way he looks at the moment. I mean, yeah, like you said, the back injury that's been and the ankle injury, it's just been small niggles that have held him back. And I feel like every time I'm heading into a Breakers game, I have a look at the Instagram and they've posted Kareem Lopez will still be on minutes restriction tonight. And I'm like, for what reason? It's been like 10 weeks. So it's important that we get him back to full fitness. But yeah, if he keeps being efficient, keeps working hard, it's those effort stats for me as well that really impressed me with Kareem Lopez. So yeah, he's just got to keep on that upward trajectory. And I guess if he stays healthy, it's going to be top 10.
I reckon it's top 10, 100%. And the thing is with him, I think people got to remember that this kid's 18 years old. He came into the NBL when he was 17, and even last year he impressed me, considering how he started the season to how he ended it. I really thought he was going to be an integral part of this team, and in recent games, he definitely has been. I think on the defensive end, he is excellent because he's so long and athletic, gets a few blocks a game, a lot of dunks. But yeah, I think what's just been so surprising for Kareem for me this year is just how he's been shooting the three ball. Considering he's upwards of 40-something% is just insane to me. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for the team as well is that it's a surprise to me that we're shooting so many threes when we're some crazy stats like 8 for 29 or whatever we are in the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games where we go and when we finish games and we're like a horrific percentage. So for me, if we can get, I don't know whether it's we're not actually just shooting them well and they're just not hitting, or it's that we're not practicing them enough, or whatever it may be. I just feel like when we go away from that and we actually drive and then we kick and we hit the open shots, I feel like we're a lot better. So Kareem Lopez is integral for that because he can drive, he can come off a handoff, he can shoot the three ball. Well, now he can. So it's important how we get that balance right, and I think Kareem Lopez is a big part of that. And if we can keep him healthy, if we can keep winning games heading into the playoffs if we make it, then it's good signs for the Breakers.
Yeah, it almost seemed like we were living or dying by the three to start the year, and I think that was a bit of our downfall because if we didn't shoot well from three, we were essentially losing. I remember one of the biggest games to start this season was against the Hawks. I think it was an Ignite Cup round over in Illawarra, and we absolutely blew them out by, I think, damn near 30 or 40 points. And it simply came down to the fact that we shot the three ball so well, and whenever we were winning games, we were shooting the three ball so well. But it's good to see now that we're not relying on that three-pointer. We're actually getting to the rim and creating more space for our shooters, and it's, I guess, making our job as shooters on the team so much easier with the likes of Parker Jackson-Cartwright getting downhill, being able to kick out to guys like Ruben Tarangi, who's there to shoot threes as well off the bench. I think we're shooting better from three because we're actually trying to actually score from different areas on the floor, which is just so good.
Well, it's not the main scoring point for us at the moment. Well, in the last couple of games which we've won, with the way I saw us attack the rim against Tassie is that we were in transition, we were working hard. Brockington was drive first, and then we were kicking. And then if we weren't kicking it, we were kicking it while we were handing it off to Lopez, who was cutting, or Meninga, who was cutting off the screen. So when it's the second option, we look so much better rather than just settling for the three ball. I think the three ball will come when we drive to the basket and we kick out to our open shooters, because no one's going to get angry if Parker Jackson-Cartwright comes off a pick and roll, drives, and then gets shut down by 3 or 4. He kicks it out and then we miss the three. That's not bad basketball. That's not where fans get angry. It's when we settle and live and die by the three ball and it's not hitting, when we don't look for other options. That's where the issue lies.
Yeah, and it's good to see that we're going away from that. And just lastly, on this game from Sydney, on Wednesday night, somebody I just need to give a big shout out to, Sean Bairstow, somebody who's struggled to get minutes this season, his second season in a Breakers uniform. With Isaiah Liafa going out, we needed some backup point guard duties. I think Taylor Britt's slightly struggling with a knee niggle from FIBA break as well. Sean Bairstow notched just shy of 20 minutes on the night with 0 turnovers. I thought was just so good to see a young man like him who has really struggled to find court time this year. Koppinen obviously, put some trust in Sean, and he really delivered. So good to see. And in the next game as well against Tassie on Saturday night, he got some more minutes too. But yeah, just a big shout out to Sean Bairstow.
Yeah, 100%. I think he was really good. I mean, it's you look at the stat sheet and 0 points or whatever it was, or zero, and then you look at like the other bit of the stat sheet, it's like 0 turnovers. So it's like he was efficient, he did well, he did what he needed to do. But yeah, I think we need more from those kind of players. We need that next man up mentality. I think there's a lot of things in the Warriors actually where they get a lot of injuries and then people jump up and take their opportunity. I think we need that more in the Breakers. So it's good to see when Leafa's out, Sean Bairstow can actually play minutes and do what he needs to do.
Yeah, for sure. And if we just look over Saturday night as well, we made it 2 from 2 from round 11, which was so good to see. Tassie's been a bit of a weird one this year, quite up and down, a few injuries, but this is the second time we played them at Spark Arena. We had a 30-point blowout the first time we played them. Going into this one, I was a little bit less optimistic considering that Tassie was at full strength, but we did get the job done, 99-86. We came out the block so hot. I think it was like a 23-8 at some point in the first quarter, but yeah, we were up 14 going into the second, which I thought was excellent. Tassie did come back a bit, but we were up 11 by halftime. But this was such a good game from everybody. I thought every single player in our starting five was just firing on all cylinders. Every starter finished with 15 plus. This was arguably, in my opinion, this was the most cohesive performance the Breakers have put together this season. And it's just so positive to see. 17 games in, we're figuring it out. We're in the 6th, and this game, if we can do this on a nightly basis, I think this is going to be a very hard team to beat going forward, Henry.
Yeah, definitely the best performance I've seen from us this year. And I just really like the collective, I guess, everyone was playing a part. I mean, we had guys stepping up in big moments, Parker Jackson-Kara not being selfish, not just being the selfless basketball player that he is. And I love the aggressiveness from our players, driving to the basket. We've already talked about it. It just creates so much more opportunities for us. I know we'll get to the imports, but I was just so impressed with all three of them actually on the night. But I actually think the change for me was that we knew that it's in not must-win territory. I hate that saying. It's not must-win territory, but it's to the point where we need to string games together. And I felt like we started to string a couple of games together, and they felt that importance going into the game because they knew that they needed to get the win. And I saw us want it. I saw all of the Breakers players connect. They all wanted it, got behind the boys in the crowd as well. So I was just really impressed with the collective environment, I guess, on Saturday night. So yeah, it was a very good victory and one that we need to build on.
There's almost like a sense of hunger around Breakers camp at the moment, I reckon. It's like, everybody has sort of wrote us off to start this year. I mean, a few of the guys over at NBL, like Pete Hooley and, Felix Van Hoof, always saying, man, we look good and then we blow games. And we were sitting ninth on the table for a while when we had a game against Cairns. I got the win over there a few weeks back. But now this put us 4 wins in the last 5 games. I think everybody's sort of got a chip on their shoulder now to kind of prove that we do belong here. And I think this game was a perfect example of the roster that Kopp and Bouch, brought in over this offseason. We are a team that can compete with some of the best, I reckon. And this was a game where I think it really just showed that for us. Like 15 points from all starters. You have the likes of some players off the bench as well, having some valuable minutes. I thought Tarangi was good in this one. And we'll get into Ty Webster in a bit too. But yeah, I think there's a sense of hunger around Breakers HQ at the moment. And there's only one game going into this round, which we'll get into in a bit. But if we can just string another win and then another win and then another win, we're going to be in a top 4 candidate in the near future, which is awesome to see.
You can't coach passion, Finn, and that is that's what I saw the other day. Like I just saw the hunger, Parker just wanting it, and the boys, and that's what you can ask for as a fan, really. Like they're all good basketball players. They can all collectively play good basketball, and we know that the coach is good enough to set them up like that. But we just needed to see the hunger, and I feel like we got that. And it's really important going forward that is what Breakers teams have been built off in the past. It's just the passion, is the work hard nature, just the selfless environment. So that's the most important thing going forward because the talent is there, the coaching's there, the players are all there. We just need to get on the right page and all work hard for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you do look back at that, dynasty run, we had 4 chips in the space of 5 seasons. A team built on, exactly, a team built on just mostly local boys, Kiwis that just were so passionate. A few really good imports. Obviously, Cedric Jackson was a pivotal piece of that three-peat as well, but it was built on hunger, built on just pride and passion for New Zealand basketball. And I think, when Boucher and everyone else came back in with the new ownership. I thought that was something we were going to see. Maybe not this season, considering, it's the first one they've had it back. But, seeing from it now, where we are in the current state of this season and the hunger we saw on Saturday night, even the years to come, if we just continue to build this culture, I think we're going to be an absolute, like a franchise that's going to be amongst some of the top teams in the NBL once again, which is just so good to see. But if we do just get backtrack onto this game, who impressed you the most in this one? I've got a few names on here, but I want to hear what you have to say, Henry.
Oh, Baker, Rob Baker, for me. I mean, I don't know what got into him. He was Steph Curry. Like, I've got down on my notes that we started running like flare screens for him to come off and shoot like a Steph Curry off the corner. Like, we always knew coming in that he could shoot the three ball. That was part. He was a stretch big. He could push the floor. He could also do that. He's a rim protector. Like, we knew those things there. We just haven't seen it on a consistent enough basis. But on the night, I just thought he was exceptional. Love the way he just worked really hard, and he's just oozed confidence in this game. I mean, half of those threes, he just almost just caught it, one dribble, and then stepped to the side. And even though there was a guy in his face, like, he just shoot it, bang. So, like, when he gets going like that, he's hard to stop. So, for me, Baker impressed me. Obviously, like I've already said, PJC, very, very good. Might not have scored all of the points, whatever, but just very, very efficient the way he stretched the floor, pushed the floor, and also did those kickouts to the corner where we then got cuts and stuff like that. So I was really impressed with him. And I want to make a special shout out, obviously, to Isaiah Brockington, who got told 2 weeks ago by Coach Kopp that he wants to see him take the game by the scruff of the neck and get more rebounds and be more efficient. So for me, that was a big tick for me. I just, when he drives, we saw it in the blitz. When he drives hard, when he goes to the basket, that's when he's most dangerous. That's when we can find other players in that, and that's when the three ball will also drop for him, because everyone will be like, oh shoot, he's gonna drive left, and then he's gonna go for the layup. So he's just got a different dimension to his game at the moment with the confidence that he's got. So overall, a very, very good performance. And yeah, the three imports, obviously everyone else played their part, but yeah, the three imports for me were stand up.
Yeah, and we need this from them on a nightly basis. I mean, that's why you bring in these imports. They're supposed to be your main pieces of your team. Baker, 16 points in the first half, like you said, oozing confidence. Holy, that man. Like, Copper's said in the past, he's the best three-point shooter on this team, and I thought he was absolutely taking the piss. I was like, there's no way Rob Baker's the best three-point shooter on this team. He's shooting awfully this year. But man, when he gets the ball on the three-point line with just the tiniest little bit of space, for somebody of his stature, 6'11" with like a 7'3" wingspan, gets the ball up awfully quick, and it's money. It's so money.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very good. And like I said, the Steph Curry stuff was just crazy. I watched like one of the highlights back when I watched it. Like, he came off a screen and he like was fading away through. Like, it didn't go, but we got it. We got a bucket off it with the Brockington. But geez, like, just really impressive. And we just need them to take the game by the scruff of the neck. All three imports, because then everyone else will contribute in the perfect way possible. But to do that, they need the imports to be scoring 15, 20 points every game and contributing on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, very impressive.
100% agree. And when Rob Baker's three-point shot starts falling, he can attack the closeout. He has the ability to put the ball on the floor. He's actually quite a raw player, in my opinion. We've seen him put the ball on the floor before and get to the rim. I think he's a little bit weak inside. That's something he needs to add to his game a little bit. But when he gets downhill, he can actually make some pretty good decisions, whether that's attacking the rim. He's 6'11". He can obviously get up there pretty easily. But I feel like if he's attacking closeouts, it's kicking out to other players. Brockington's great on closeouts as well. And, 22 points in this one. Easily the most versatile scorer in our team. He's absolutely money from the mid-range. His three-point shot is starting to look great too. And downhill off two, I think he's probably one of the hardest players to stop in the league. He gets off two, bumps people in midair. I think we saw it in the Blitz so much, why he won the Blitz MVP, but he was excellent as well. But yeah, and Sam Meninga too, I thought was excellent in this one. 16 points, 9 boards for Sam. He had an absolute body, but like a poster. He keeps doing it. Yeah, Jack White in the FIBA international break. Now he's got Will Magnay, arguably the best shot blocker in the league, on a poster as well. I think he's just got a stuff it mentality. He's just putting everyone on the rim. Oh, I've said it all year. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Sam's leading the MIP candidate for it's obvious reasons why. He's had a huge jump, and I think he's going to keep going. I don't see how he couldn't even win it at this point. Even if we don't finish very high on the ladder this year, but I still think we're going to finish in the 6 at this point. Sam's definitely got MIP all wrapped up. But just quickly before we move on to what's happening in round 12, Ty Webster, a big news heading into Wednesday night. Isaiah Liafa suffered a fracture in his foot from the FIBA international window, but arguably, I think we've actually upgraded here with Ty Webster, who just wrapped up a 2-year campaign over in France, playing in Division 1. He actually got some minutes on Saturday night, got a really easy bucket on Ben Air and hit him with the 2 small. Get him in the gym, get him with the team. He's going to be a very good 6 or 7 man off the bench. Really looking forward to seeing what he can produce.
Well, no disrespect to Isaiah Liafa, but he's definitely an upgrade on that.
Yeah.
And I just think on a lot of levels, it's a very good upgrade. It's someone we can bring off the bench, can ball handle, can help PJC, can hit a shot if need be, can drive, can work hard on defense. So I think there's a lot of positives to this move for the Breakers, and I want to see him included in. And the thing, just quickly, on Ty Webster and sort of the rotations as well, I was impressed with Kop's rotations in the last couple of games. I feel like earlier on in the season, we talked about it. We talked about how just the substitutions fell off. I was hot on it after the first game. We sort of gave up a lead. We'd gotten it back to about down 3 in the first game of the season, and then we've subbed out our guys. I know they've played big minutes, but that's when you need to ride the luck, feed the hot hand. And I feel like Kop's now learned that in this league, you've kind of got to ride the luck a little bit more, and whoever's hot, just keep feeding them the ball, etc. So Ty Webster's a big part in that, because he can come off the bench, he can help out PJC if he's not going well. So, yeah, it's an important signing for us and definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, you and I have talked about those substitutions at the start of the season. We had 11 players sometimes playing in the first quarter. I couldn't believe it. It was actually insane. And, PJC, Sam Mananga, Brockington, they weren't playing over 30 minutes. This is a league, like a relatively short season, 33 games. That is nothing like the NBA. It's probably less than Europe as well. You can afford to play your starters over 30 minutes a game in this league. And the fact that Kop wasn't doing it, and he was giving everyone minutes. I understand he's trying to figure out who was playing the best at the start of the year, but, seeing on Saturday night in particular, all the starters were upwards of 30 minutes, and I think we only had about 3 or 4 guys off the bench. I think that needs to stay that way this whole season, especially going forward if we really want to put together some games.
We're not a development team. Like, we just play the guys that are playing well. Like, I don't care if I see do not plays. Like, I just want to see the best players out on the park for the right amount of times when we need them the most. Like, Will Magnay's on the floor. Don't take Sam Meninga off, because when Rob Lowe comes on, the dimension changes. So the substitutions need to be smarter. That is his biggest role, I think, personally, or at least the assistant coaches in the game, is figuring out who to play where at what time against the matchup. So I think he's definitely improved on what he was at the start of the season. So we need to see more of that, because going forward, I think that's actually helped us in the last couple of games get the victory.
I agree. And, we had 2 wins. Skyrockets us into 6 on the leaderboard, 7 for 10. Honestly, I was still optimistic. I still thought there was good signs, but the fact that we've put 4 wins in the last 5, we're in playoff contention. There's still a lot of games left to play. I think is excellent. But if we look ahead to round 12, we have the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, who I think are just huge dark horses, in my opinion, Henry. They've been excellent. Obviously coached by Josh King, a Coach of the Year candidate, arguably the best defensive coach that we have in the NBL. They just came off at 111-86 win over their rivals, Melbourne United, who are obviously sitting atop of the NBL. How do you feel about going into this one? We're heading over to Melbourne for the game as well. I'm a bit nervous, but I think if we ride this momentum, I think we have a pretty good chance of taking this one from them.
Yeah, Josh King, I'm a really big fan of Josh King. I think
me
defensively he's exceptional. Love the way he coaches his guys. Love the passion. That's just what you want to see from a coach. You can get behind that very easily. So he's a very, very good coach. And I think, it's a tough one for us, because it's an away game. It's in a high-flying team. They're a very good team. We got to get something out of the game. I mean, I'm not expecting us to win. I just think our run of wins might just end there, but that's okay. But then if you're gonna lose, at least show some fight, show some performances, get some momentum going, at least positive, have some good runs, get back in the game, fight, keep it close, force it overtime, whatever it may be. We need to see something from this Breakers team that they're on an upward trajectory. So that's the most important thing for me. I think they're a very good side. I agree that they're dark horses for the competition. Coach of the year candidate Josh King. So they're a very good lineup as well. So I think they're definitely beatable, but we're gonna need a very, very good outing. But like I said, if we don't win, it's all good, albeit, but we need to see something else from this Breakers unit, and whether it's working hard, whether it's keeping it close, or some performances off the bench from the likes of Ty Webster, Ruben Tarangi, etc. That's what we need to see.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that's really playing in our hands against Southeast Melbourne going into this one, we only have one game this round. That is the game on Saturday night. Southeast Melbourne also have a Ignite Cup game this round as well, so they might have some tired legs going into Saturday night. But if we stop Nathan Sobey, I think this is a game we can win. Geordie Hunter's been shooting excellently from three as well, but I think we match up all right against this team, but I think we can do all right. But Henry, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, mate, and all the best. I'm sure we'll catch up again.
Sweet, thanks, Finn, mate. Really appreciate it, and yeah, anytime.
And if we take a look at what the ladder is looking like in the NBL after round 11, the Adelaide 36ers jump into first place with a 13-3 record. They are essentially one game behind Melbourne United, who have played 17 games, who have the same amount of wins. They're 13, but they have 4 losses. These two teams will be clear-cut 1 and 2 going into the back end of the season. We still have, I think, 23 games left, potentially. Maybe a little bit less. Actually, less than that. I'm so sorry. There's been 17 games and there's 33 games in this season. There's definitely not 23 games left. But my math is really bad on the fly. So there is 16 games, 15 games left for most teams. Maybe around 14 for some. But Adelaide are 13-3. Melbourne United 13-4. They're sitting in second. This is where it does drop off a bit. You've got Southeast Melbourne finishing. They're currently in third. They're 10-5. Perth Wildcats are 9-7. They're at fourth. Sydney Kings are 7-7. They're fifth. The New Zealand Breakers, after 2 wins this round, are 7-10. They're currently sixth. Obviously, they're 3 wins behind Sydney. 3 games behind Sydney, sorry. But they are in contention for a playoff spot. And considering we have played joint the most games in the NBL along with Melbourne United, we will have a lot of single game rounds, which I think will play into our favour quite a bit. And if I'm not mistaken, we will feature in the Ignite Cup finals. That is an extra game for us in the Gold Coast, which I'm very looking forward to. 400,000 AUD on the line. I think some of those DPs might be looking forward to that. Tassie dropped to 7th after their loss to the Breakers. They're 6-10. Illawarra are playing catch-up. They've played 15 games. They're 5-10. 8th on the ladder, unsurprisingly. We have the Brisbane Bullets in 9th, who have dropped out of the 6 exponentially since Casey Prather's departure. Unsurprised, of course. And the Cairns Taipans at the bottom as well, 4-12. I think we're going to see Brisbane eventually land into that 10 spot. Moving on to the NBA, obviously Will's not here, and I feel like this is his real cup of tea. This is where he really starts to dive deep. I'm still a big fan, of course, but I think we got to start off here with the LA Clippers. Obviously, this is the team that I support. You're all aware of this if you do watch this part of the podcast during the NBA. But what is going on with our franchise? I think this is a head scratcher. I'm upset, confused, and just genuinely frustrated with what's unfolding in LAC at the moment. A player who holds very special in my heart. I've been supporting this team since the 2015-16 NBA season. Chris Paul has been a big part of what the Clippers built during that Lob City era, and a player that holds so dearly in my heart. I followed a lot of what he was doing post-Clippers. Considering what he's done for so many teams in the NBA, for him to agree to come back to LA on a minimum deal on his retirement tour, and for the Clippers front office to send him home. Whatever was going on, I'm sure it could have been resolved. There's still plenty of games left in this NBA season, and I know the Clippers are 13th in the West and are in struggle street and have the Oklahoma City pick. Well, they're handing it to them for the next draft, and at this rate, they're getting a lottery pick. But why send Chris Paul home? A player that has just done simply so much for that organization decided he wanted to spend his last season of his basketball career with the team that obviously he was big on Charlotte, but he was so much for the Clippers, rebuilt so much of that little dynasty. Well, not really a dynasty because we didn't win anything, but rebuilt so much for what was going on in that era of Clippers basketball where, I mean, realistically, we probably should have won a championship. And for him to come back, whatever's going on, if he's feuding with the players, if he's feuding with the coaches, obviously I've seen reports that the loss we had against the Mavs where Clay hit 6 threes and Kawhi, which is crazy, wasn't doing a good job on him. Chris Paul, being Chris Paul, said, you got to switch off. Jeff Van Gundy obviously doesn't like Chris Paul, said, you have no right. You don't have the authority here. And that probably wouldn't rub right with Chris Paul. It's no secret that there are players in the NBA and coaches and staff in the NBA that probably don't like Chris Paul. I think it's been said everywhere. But Chris Paul's the type of player to hold people accountable. And, well, seems like the Clippers couldn't deal with that and they've sent him home. He's technically still on the roster. And for Chris Paul's sake, I hope he gets waived and I hope a contender signs him. I really hope Oklahoma City Thunder have some sort of roster spot where they can offer Chris Paul just one more go. I want to see him end off with the ring. I don't agree with what the Clippers have done. I think it's awful. Will I stop supporting them? No, I'm a loyal man. And despite what's going on this season, you can't turn your back on them now. But yeah, just incredibly frustrating. Kawhi Leonard's trade value has also become negative apparently, so we can't exactly move on from what Kawhi Leonard has brought to our team. If I'm the Clippers GM, I think we got to blow it up. I think our time trying to compete for a championship is over. Let James Harden retire with us. He probably doesn't have that many years left. I think we need to somehow move on from Kawhi. He still has valuable years left. Whether a team is willing to take some sort of risk on him, I'm unsure. But I think we need to move on from him. Start building around Ivica Zubac. Obviously, he is getting older too, but arguably a top, you'd say 6, 7, 8 center in the NBA. Has been a little bit down this year, but still very good. We have no youth. So essentially, we have the next 5 to 10 years when we finally get our pick back. I don't think we own a pick until 2030, which that's 5 years away. We got to rebuild. And I think that's something we need to do now. We need to start with it now. We don't have much youth coming through, but shout out 4-year college rookie Kobe Sanders. He's been excellent off the bench. Obviously, he was a win now rookie, drafted 51st in the draft, just gone. Jordan Miller, he's been struggling with injury. I think he's been a good piece when he's been on. Kobe Brown's been stepping up. Cam Christie, you're 20 years old. I think you have a chance to hopefully flourish into something like your brother, maybe a bit better. But obviously with Derek Jones Jr. and Bogey Bogdanovic still out, yeah, we're in a bit of trouble. Our offseason, arguably one of the worst I've ever seen. Chris Paul sent home. Bradley Beal out for the season with a fractured hip. And Brook Lopez, well, he's out of the rotation. So essentially we made no good moves. John Collins, you're wildly inconsistent and have had some okay games this year. But considering we had to move on from Norman Powell to pick John Collins up, yeah, Norman Powell has been flourishing on the Miami Heat this year, which I'm not surprised. He's an excellent player. Speaking of James Harden, he's entered the top 10 for the all-time scoring list. He's obviously no doubt going to be an NBA Hall of Famer. And I think him entering the top 10 is awesome. Considering his age and where he's at, he's trying his absolute best for the Clippers. Obviously, something's going on in our front office, but on a night out, he's still trying his best. I think the biggest news, though, that has happened in the last 5 to 6 days, LeBron James' streak of games of 10 points or more has finally come to an end after 1,297 NBA basketball games. I couldn't believe it. Finished with 8 points against the Raptors and had a chance to potentially get 10 points with the ball in his hand at the buzzer, but made the perfect read and the right read for the team, swinging it to Rui Hachimura in the corner, who knocked down a 3 to win. against an Eastern Conference team who has looked really good this season. So, lots of thoughts and opinions around this. This is a record that I thought he would have held. I mean, no one's ever going to break this record, but I thought this was a record that he wouldn't have dropped until he actually retired, and that would have been it. But the fact that he's lost it during his NBA career, I think it's time that we start realizing that LeBron is on the way out. And LeBron being LeBron, I don't think there is any way that he could possibly not have a retirement tour. But does he just pack it up at the end of the season and that's it? It's not something LeBron would do. He needs to make it about himself somehow. But I think it's inevitable that this season or next season will be his last, considering what is going on. Obviously, the Lakers are absolutely booming at the moment. Luka Doncic has been excellent and should be in MVP conversations. Austin Reeves is flourishing into one of the best second options, maybe third options in the NBA, whether LeBron is on or not. But the Lakers are going crazy. Last episode, 2 episodes ago, Will said that Jalen Johnson is the best player on the Atlanta Hawks. Some people said yes. A lot of people said no. Trae Young's still their guy. But honestly, I think as of late, Jalen Johnson has been proving his point that maybe they don't need Trae Young, because Jalen Johnson just continues to put up ridiculous career numbers of triple doubles, high efficiency games, high scoring games, and putting the Hawks in an excellent position to where they can potentially make a push in this year's NBA playoffs. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been an excellent second option on this team, averaging 20 points per game. Vic Krejci has been excellent from three-pointer. Onyeka Okongwu's been good, and Kristaps Porzingis, when he's healthy, has proven that he is a good player. So Jalen Johnson has just been unbelievable. And of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder haven't lost a game since their Blazers lost. They're still 22-1. Simply cannot believe it. I think the 73-9 record is on it. It's on its way out. I'm going to leave you with a poll to end on this episode. Obviously, I hope you've enjoyed it. Bit interesting doing this by myself, but shout out Henry for coming on. The poll I'm going to leave you today, just touching on how good the Oklahoma City Thunder have been, with Jalen Williams coming back, having the best, I think they have the best points differential in NBA history. They're 22-1. 23 games into the NBA season, they have lost one game. The poll question I have for you: is the Golden State Warriors 73-9 record from 2016 in jeopardy? I think it is. I think the Thunder are going to beat it. I personally do. Let me know what you think down in the comments section down below, and obviously vote on screen or down below as well. Thanks so much for tuning into episode 11 of the Fast Break podcast. We'll be back next week, so I won't be rambling at you into a camera, but I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again.